I was sitting on my room's balcony on the Carnival Magic this past December. It was night, maybe 10 p.m. or so. Nobody was around. I remember being frustrated at something, so I had gone out on my room's balcony to get some fresh air and to think. At that time, we were sailing in the Atlantic, somewhere in the emptiness north of Grand Turk. The balcony light was turned off, and I was looking out over the rail. Soupy, light gray clouds were racing in the sky, and twinkling stars peeked through every now and then. I was content sitting there and watching the sky, or at least that's what I kept telling myself. Ever since I had gotten out on that balcony, I'd felt the ocean calling me. To be fair, outside of the howling of the winds, the main sound was the ocean's waves crashing against the ship. It was hard to miss the ocean's call. I kept trying to ignore it, though. Growing up nowhere near any sizable body of water, I had a mild thalassophobia. The only meaningful way that this plays out in my daily life is that normally I don't eat fish, nor do I particularly enjoy swimming or other aquatic activities. That last part may be related to a low self-esteem, but I digress. That night, my thalassophobia was in full swing. Looking at the swelling clouds and hiding stars was a nice distraction from not only whatever I was frustrated about, but also the ocean and how scary it felt. And while I've forgotten about whatever it was that I was upset about, I haven't forgotten the ocean's call. I think it has a name. The call of the deep. The call of the void. By now it wasn't merely calling, you could say it was knocking. Every crash of a wave beckoning me to come and see what the ocean had to say. Enough. I got up, slightly swaying as I took the couple steps to the balcony rail. I held onto the rail with both of my hands as I looked down. To nobody's surprise, the ocean was there, lapping up against the hull of the ship. I really understood in that moment why the ocean is sometimes called the abyss. It was like we were sailing in ink. It was so dark that I couldn't see my reflection. Well, maybe that isn't entirely correct. This is pretentious, but while I couldn't see my reflection, I could certainly feel it staring back at me from the void. I was looking inward. Maybe some meditation guru out there would be proud of me. It occurred to me that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't scared of the ocean. Maybe I was scared of change, of things that aren't familiar. Maybe the ocean wasn't so bad after all. Even worse, maybe I was scared of actually liking something outside of my normal comfort zone. The ocean and all our aquatic friends in it are about as far out in left field to Dallas, Texas as it comes. My job deals with outer space, and that abyss has actually helped me shift the oceanic abyss into a more positive light. Outer space is vast, incomprehensibly vast. There are more planets, moons, suns, black holes, meteors, asteroids, and who knows what else than we can imagine. Space truly is the final frontier. In a way, the ocean is also the final frontier, at least as it pertains to Earth. The ocean is vast, incomprehensibly vast. There are more fish, crustaceans, sharks, ridges, caves, trenches, mountains, and who knows what else than we can imagine. And so now, whether I look up at the stars or out to the ocean, I catch that reflection staring back at me quite often, and it just won't go away. I've come to accept that I'm not really afraid of the ocean. What's harder to accept is that I'm afraid of myself. I'm afraid of feeling unashamed at liking something. Self-esteem has never been my strong point. I've always known that, but for whatever reason, the call of the deep highlighted it. That's because in a moment, out on that balcony, the idea to jump into the water, the true call of the deep, floated by. And while I had no intention to actually act upon it, I tend to be a bit of a daydreamer, and so I played out that scenario in my head. I might tense up when I hit the water, the cold triggering my mammalian dive reflex, momentarily stopping me from breathing. I would probably flail about and try to call for help. I'd instantly regret that decision. But nobody would hear me, and nobody would know that I was gone until it was most likely far too late. And so in that moment, the call of the deep taught me that I'd have so many regrets as I tried to keep my head above the waves. Everything that I've worked for and accomplished, everything I wish I would have done, all of it would be lost to the abyss. And to be fair, that abyss will catch up to me one day. Who knows when that day will be or what shape that abyss will look like, but it certainly wasn't that day back in December. What that moment in December was, though, was a reminder from the abyss that I am relatively temporary. I feel special sometimes, but to the abyss, I'm just like the billions who came before me and the billions who will follow. But despite that, however bleak it may seem, if anything should hold me back, it shouldn't be me. Let anything else ruin my day under the stars. Just don't let me ruin it for myself. And so now I enjoy the sea. I still don't eat fish, I still don't really swim, but despite my natural reservations and self-consciousness, I still find a way to enjoy the things I was once afraid of. I've found a way to enjoy myself. All of this, though, while the waves crashed against the ship, and I took one last look into the ink below before heading back inside, I learned that when I stare into the abyss, it's not the abyss that stares back, as the old saying goes. What, or should I say who, really stares back is myself, and I get to decide how to feel and how to feel about the abyss. The call of the deep never came from within the deepest reaches of the ocean. The call of the deep comes from within the deepest reaches of ourselves.